Hello there everybody, welcome back to another POV analysis video. In the last one, we had a look at Joe and his 0-7 performance at the Major. However, today we're looking at the opposite end of the spectrum. We're going to be looking at Spoit and his 22 kill game against the Wolves, where M80 still managed to lose in max OT. Now, as we hop into the replay file, normally in a game of Siege, if a player's popping off and the rest of the team is not having an easy day at the office. In a ranked game, for instance, you can sometimes make the assumption that the player popping off is baiting a little bit, right? And not really finding much impact in the game. The baiting doesn't really happen at a professional level, but I think we can hone in on the impact of Spoit in this particular replay, right? Are the kills that he is mounting actually aiding the team? Because it's all well and good to get exit picks and to find, easy trades here or there to build up your kill count, but if you're not actually really chipping in, then the rest of the team can have issues. There could also be an instance in this replay file, right, where the rest of M8 is having a really bad day and Spoit's trying his best to carry them, and that's not working out. Now, as always, I'm jumping into this replay file cold. That said, this full replay file, if I remember correctly, is already up on the channel. I'll link it if it is, so you can always go watch this entire thing back unedited if you wish. At the moment, not really too much is happening here from Spoit. He's just laying down his Azami barricades. And Azami was a very popular operator at the Copenhagen Major. Understandably so. You have a great primary, as shown there. Unfortunately, though, Spoit does get traded in the first round. Probably a little bit unlucky not to get two. So this will be fun. Round number 2, and M80 have actually gone down to a library here on Villa, which is certainly an outcast objective. It's not that often that we'll see it played. However, I'm a believer in it. I think it is quite viable. Certainly underrated in the rank scene. Competitive as well. It probably does get a little bit underutilized. So intrigued to see how Spoit is going to play. This is on the Legion for this particular rank. Okay, I was not ready or expecting that. Spoit currently holding Vert. He's got a couple of impact angles. That is an insane entry. A really good operator to take off the board as well, mind you. The Sledge has great vert potential on this objective once the attack does get control up above. That's some really good work from Spoit. Holding this position, not particularly easy. At least once the attack actually begins to apply pressure. So able to alleviate a little bit of that. And it's clear, as you would expect, right? Already Spoit looking very sharp. And yeah, this attack falling apart a little bit. Spoit gets a second. Again, traded out at Vault Door, but the damage already kind of been done. And the Wolves don't get their teeth into that attack at all. So, far more traditional side here for round number 3. We go over towards Kitchen, and Spoit again has been tasked with playing this roam, playing against the entry. And so far, every kill that we have seen has been truthfully impactful. I mean, you could argue that the final one there in round 2 maybe wasn't, because the round was probably already over by then. But he was still getting the job done, still helping his team work towards win conditions. So we'll see how he goes here. It's a triple roam up above. Iconic gets the first. So once again, M80 in a pretty good position. So then it's about a minute to go in the round, and Spoit hasn't seen really anything at all in this round. And it looks like it's going to be largely horizontal here from the attack. So we can see a couple of outlines through Lounge. And Spoit gets that sound cue, and we'll see how he reacts to it. But he hasn't really had to do a whole lot in this round. He might be able to claim one more for the stat pad, but 3v1, he really didn't have to do a whole lot here in round number 3. And Shinka very low on HP. Spoit waits for that sound cue on the plant, progresses forward and pinches with the team. And that is probably going to be his quietest round throughout this replay file, if I had to guess. So then we go back to AVG for round number 4. And this is the one where it sort of fell apart a little bit in the trade late round for M80. So I presume that Spoit is going to be a little bit more aggressive here, maybe off-site to try and play these entry picks. But that does rely on the Wolves pushing this side of the map. They probably will eventually. But we'll see how Spoit maneuvers himself around the map and what positions that he decides to play. Currently located, locked down red stairs, and this has been popularized recently. However, there's no Jaeger on the board here. There's a bit of catch available from Gomez with those mags though, so maybe Spoit will look to lock this down, but from what we've seen so far, expecting him to play a little bit more of an active role around the map. So Spoit getting aggressive. It's a 3v5. So in this position, at that deficit, you need to be looking to try and make a play. So P4 goes for the pinch. And Spoit right into that really nicely. Minute to go, 2v4. We'll see how he plays around this one. He has a couple of options available. Needs to be mindful though of this 90 repel. Okay, hits that. It's a tall ass though. Ace clutch needs to be won here. Now there's a keeper barrier actually protecting this angle. It's a bit broken in the replay file. He uses that for the third. The plank going down, effectively 1v1. He'll want to try and isolate these picks, and he has information. But Deadshot plays that super well. Doesn't overexpose himself to that angle. Just backs himself to swing if he needs to. Now 1v2 post with a Monty on the board. We're going to be very, very difficult to win this. It's not like he has impact grenades, for instance. He's trying to wriggle himself behind that Monty. Also equally trying to isolate the pick to Deadshot, who's cooking a nade, I presume from down below. He does. Again, Spoit reads into it. So he played that as well as he possibly could. He gets 3 picks, and that's impact, in my opinion, right? He probably played it as optimally as he possibly could, but unfortunately those numbers don't equate to a round win because the rest of M80 really struggling on this objective. So it's an aggressive triple wall setup here for a trophy stat from Spoit. And again, unfortunately, in replay files, it is a little bit difficult to see keeper barriers. They don't fully expand properly like they do in-game. I probably need to do a report for that. I don't know if it's actually an issue or not. So it's a little bit tricky to know exactly what protection he has, but I think the left interior window is boarded up by a keeper. And certainly is now. And what Spoit's trying to do here is deny that jump-in closet, deny the jump-in towards the fireplace, deny the jump in over towards bathroom, make sure he's holding that angle to the bedroom window as well. So he has his hands full a little bit here, and the Wolves are doing a pretty good job in isolating utility as well. So Ricks, for instance, now not really a play. And interestingly, Spoit here just also being mindful as well of the push through study. Candelas are going out here, so potential for an early execute here from the Wolves. And that's exactly what they've done. They've exploded into bedroom. So Spoit's moved away. That's in some part allowed this push through. There was utility, of course, to facilitate that. And it doesn't matter because Spoit's been able to lock down this position with no pinch from study. He can land these shots. He's clearly looking sharp in this game. And M80 now, with the man advantage, will be looking to close out this round. Spoit gives a ping. Or his team gives a ping. Maybe a bit of both there. Either way, triple for Spoit. A dead shot there. Not able to probably isolate as many picks as he would have liked with those Candelas. Again, big impact from Spoit. Double digits round 5. So once again, it's a roam up above here from Spoit. Keep in mind that last time Wolves got good traction on the horizontal play. They didn't really play into this setup at above from M80 much at all. Early signs indicate to me that maybe they will this round though. So let's see how Spoit looks to play around it this time. So Spoit's looking to try and play this vert, but he needs to be really careful of the window angle. He does read into that correctly. Mowgli gets the first, but traded. And now Spoit does have some support from Iconic up above. Not a lot of time left here. Spoit sort of has 2 options. He could lurk and then drop late. Or he could rotate off completely and look to play from China, for instance, through kitchen. He elects to sort of stay above here. Keep applying pressure, not giving away this vert for free. Does get flashed out. But keep in mind, he does have that support. So that's why he's not completely abandoning this position. Just making this really tough for the attack. Equally though, they have gotten control down below the Wolves. Fortunately though, Diaz on site does a decent job. It means that Spoit doesn't have to exploit this vert. And he couldn't really because that window was still being pressured. Nonetheless though, they're going to commit to a double stack up above. So leaving a single defender on site. Perhaps a little bit risky. There we go. So let's see how they play retake. This is actually going to be super interesting. 2v2. And this is a pretty common flank route right through Laundry late round. As the plant goes down, P4 needs to play cover.
10 seconds left.
They go for a kitchen plant. And Spoit's trying to confirm that. They don't have a particularly good read as to information on site. Now they've Spoit in the 1v2. Knows where the first is, but doesn't know where Bibu is immediately. You can see him trying to clear these angles in kitchen. He sort of has to risk it, and he does. That player could have been inside of pantry. Fortunately for Spoit, though, wasn't. But P4, drone, inside of China, gets that information. The double stack commit there from Spoit, and Iconic does not pay off. So then we transition into round number 7. So sides were swapped. M80 now on the attack. It's 3-3, so we're setting ourselves up here for a very, very close best of 1. Keep in mind that this was in only day 1 of the second phase of the major, so still a best of 1 at this point. It wasn't an elimination game. And Spoit looking for pretty swift entry and control over towards Astro Stairs. I presume he'll be primary entry here on that Yana. Wolves not contesting this side of the map all too vigorously. Spoit actually going hunting below here a little bit. Wolves are trying to counter that with these mute jammers to delay info, but it will only have a pretty limited effect, and Spoit confidently clearing this. So he'll sneak forward, then over towards library. Information gives confirmation someone's holding brown stairs, but that's pretty expected. And now at this point, Spoit and M80 know that the entire first floor is clear. They can begin to get to work with vertical grenades if he wishes and doesn't have to worry too much about threats. Now he is peeking brown stairs before expending that U-tool. It's a little bit risky, right? If he dies there, doesn't expect the angle to be held or whatever, or doesn't hit the shot, those nades could go to waste. But he eventually does get them out, and I presume that those have done something and helped clear that shield. We can maybe quickly check if that actually was the case. Actually, no, shield's still standing because it's on top of model, so that's a little bit unfortunate. Probably not the best of pings. Spoit should have known that, or been relayed that information, right, so that he could actually shoot out the wood and then nade through. Regardless, though, going to try and pressure brown stairs. A dead shot up on the boost. And I think that's just a combination, right, of M80 not being able to find that initial pick and not given a whole lot of time to clear out that particular position. No pressure, study window, for instance, all through 90. Deadshot can comfortably sit there and wait. So then stat trophy for the next round, and Spoit getting really, really quick entry here. This was so much faster than the Wolves, who were often very static and stalled out actually on this balcony, so I like this. Very aggressive and already applying a pinch. Does fall down the hatch. Can't say whether or not that was intentional. If I had to guess, I would say it wasn't. I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me differently, but I think he had a really good pinch there and early pressure. Unfortunately now it's sort of forfeited that a little bit and may need to actually fight for that a little bit more vigorously now, especially if the Wolves know that bedroom has now been vacated, but it's not the absolute end of the world. He preserves his life and his util. Interestingly running claymores here. I don't know whether or not he'll be able to get those down. There's an intention behind that. But triple wall now is being worked by Kino on the Habana. So more opportunities here for Spoit, but he also equally needs to be careful because those angles can be used both ways. He'll give away his position bricks by activating the Banshee. He's looking so dangerous right now. P4 forced to go prone, so that puts a lot of pressure on his position, but M80 don't really capitalize on it. Nonetheless, I'll just leave him prone and actually go deep through sight. P4 does pop up, get a kill. And Spoit desperately trying to find these trades. Finally gets the down, or at least the teammate does. Regardless though, 2v3. Both players very, very low. Unfortunate here for Spoit. I think maybe if he doesn't fall down the hatch and he could maybe get that first initial pick and kickstart that push from study across, it would have been a very, very different story. So this is probably one of the few rounds so far where we could sort of go, yeah, Spoit struggling a little bit there, and any kills he manages to get from this point are a little bit fraudulent. Not really going to have a huge impact. And the pressure, I think, now starting to mount a little bit against M80 because this will be a 3-5 scoreline as Bibu confirms that kill. Okay, so Spoit going from the Yana Ash to now playing Thatcher, who, to be fair, can be an underrated fragger. More often than not, you can expend those amps pretty early on in a round, not have to worry then too much about your primary util. Then you can sort of transition and flex into a fragging role. It's not like his kit is useless, right? And to be frank, I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen this more. Especially with Thatcher bans alleviating a little bit after all the nerfs. I'm actually quite keen for this round. You also have breaching charges as well. So on a site, like, I believe it's kitchen, right? Get that down once you have vert control. You can create those lines of sight. Good backup as well if your sledge does die. But yeah, this could be an interesting round. Going for an entry then, so halfway point of the round. Oh, it just doesn't win that early duel, not expecting someone under default. And the trade timing here from M80, really not that good. So it's going to be a 3-6 scoreline. I didn't know it got this one-sided in this game, to be frank. Insane. And now we're going to see M80 chip away at this lead. So back on the Ana then, and it is crunch time for Spoit and M80. They can't make any mistakes really from this point onwards. Although the Wolves take this best of one. And again, it's not a do or die game. It's like pressure is absolutely off the scale. However, it can be an unforgiving format, this new one. So you don't want to get off on the bad foot.
Bomb located by attackers.
Again, Spoit a big fan of this drone work down below to give access to that lurk if he wants to go for it late in the round and use those nades. It looks like he won't, though, on this particular occasion, pushing through 90 at the midway point of the round. Still 2 grenades in pocket. Still has Geminides available as well. Grenades go out through Vault. They made it get the first 2 picks in this round. And Spoit actually has been pretty quiet on this attacking half, right? We cast our minds back to the defense. He was absolutely fragging out. As I say that, he gets 2. To be fair, though, defense forced to make a play in the 5v3. They line up through 90. Almost gets a 3rd. That's pretty clinical there from Spoit. He didn't really have to work too hard for those ones. So look, I think at this point, unless something crazy changes my mind towards the very tail end of this game, Spoit, generally speaking, is having quite an impact. And, well, this is really aggressive. Okay. So that's, I mean, nice way to open up the round. Able to just sneak inside and then able to fall off. Now, you can always elect to double down in your aggression there, but if you don't have information where you want to be pushing, then may not be advised. But yeah, just quickly going back to that point, I think so far, Spoit, he is having an impact. These kills, largely speaking, are quite big. There's been a couple of exit kills here or there, but most of the time they're all winning rounds anyway, so it's difficult to be critical. See how they go about clearing out bar here. This is a lot of pressure. And, okay. Bibu completely shut down. And that's Spoit almost single-handedly, almost. He obviously had information on the first and additional pressure on the second, but breaking down that entire extension there from the defense. So about 40 seconds to go then. M80 still need to work pretty hard to close out this round. Library can be a little bit of a funnel at times. And it's not an objective that's trained and as well drilled as other objectives. So the blank goes down. And you can see that Spoit's able to just hold down the swing here and lock that down. Nice shot though from Deadshot. It's difficult to be critical there of Spoit there. That's just a really nice shot from the defense. But Spoit obviously going to his stripes, opening up that round, getting 2 kills up above. So it's 5-6 then. And this obviously doesn't need to be said, but a very important round for M80 to push this game to overtime. And we'll see what direction Spoit goes this time. We've seen him go down below for that lurk through lounge. For these AVG attacks, we've also seen him go more direct and clean up over towards 90. So 2 sort of distinct options available here for Spoit on Yana. And the fact that he's getting droned ahead, he also has a pre-placed inside of lounge, would suggest that that's the way he's going to go. That's the route he's going to take. 5v4 for M80. And if Spoit can clean up a bit of util and or find a kill with a vert nade, that would be greatly appreciated by the rest of the team. That was a bit of a linchpin for the defense last time, where Deadshot was able to sit up on that boost angle and sort of just farm M80 as they pushed up late into the round. Being stalled out currently by smoke canister. And that's a really good play from Spoit, right? Immediately uses that Gemini. Obviously, it's not going to take damage from the smoke canister, so may as well, instead of sitting there twiddling your thumbs, try and find a bit of information. Unfortunately, it does get taken down, so he doesn't, but either way, don't mind that play. Now a live drone up the stairs, but Vertical making this difficult. Spoit under quite a bit of pressure as the plant goes down, but Spoit able to apply enough counter pressure of his own to find that kill, and now we go to overtime. So there's a bit of a cheat code to these replays. You can see at the bottom the timeline. This looks like it's going to be a pretty short and quick round, so again, don't know exactly which way it's going to necessarily go, but expecting this to not be a particularly drawn out attack here from M80. Back on the Ash for this round. Claymore's back in play. I have seen Spoit in the past get really quick presence and pressure from bedroom. But probably not going to be as viable this time, I wouldn't assume. Turns out that bathroom's clear though, so might look to make a play there. Also probably wants to try and clear that deployable shield with an Ash charge. Although no one's actually actively playing it. Nonetheless though, he'll reload it. He has it pinch and pressure. Bot Astro stairs, the window as well. So this player on the shield is not in the most optimal of positions. Quick peek to deal with the shield. Doesn't land. Maybe caught by a Jaeger device. I don't entirely know, but it doesn't matter. Spoit crushes that player Astro. That was sort of expected, but then to find the second as well, that's really good work. And then the rest of the team just plays off that. Spoit confident to just push forward. He's going to clean up the retake as well. That's 3 very big kills. Also able to get the 4th. And that, right there, that round of all of them probably showing just how explosive and impactful Spoit can be and why those 22 kills in this game were deserved. But that's not the end. Still a couple of rounds to go. So, bit of deja vu. We're back in Astro. This time, though, Spoit defending it. At least initially, but falls back. Oh. Oh, gets caught off guard a little bit there on the initial vault. Gets the first. But then he's stuck in a pinch from Astro window. Difficult position to find himself in. Spoit probably doing the best that he could in that spot, especially considering that he got caught off guard a little bit. Alrighty then, it's the last round and we find ourselves at a very familiar crossroads over towards Astro. Where will Spoit look to exploit? Again, being live droned in through lounge. And there's at least a little bit of util installed by the Wolves to perhaps try and stall this. There's also a clash in play this time. Again, we'll see if Spoit needs to play his part in dealing with that. Currently in the hallway. I mean, there's an opportunity here for a vert nade potentially up above, but that would be a little bit risky. Oh, okay, they're actually going to go for it. Let's see if it lands. No, just falls short. I like the attempt, though. Bit unfortunate that the execution was not quite on point there from Spoit. And perhaps the ping was a little bit short as well. Second nade then used to help facilitate the push-up round by clearing the barbed wire. And this has been a very difficult push. That's credit to the Wolves. And unfortunately, Spoit has just been put on an island now in 1v5. He has had no impact. He's had no potential to have an impact in this round. And despite dropping 22 kills in this game, Spoit unfortunately gets zapped to death. Wow. That will, though, conclude the video. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. I have access to all the replay files from the Copenhagen Major, so if there's a particular player or team or match or whatever that you want to see, please let me know, and I'll try my best.